So I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Prabhu.
So yeah, okay. Yes, Mataji. Devotional color. So 14 and 15. Chapter 14 and 15. 14th we have done. Yes, 14th we have done. So 15th and 16 will do. Okay. So these two chapters we will try to finish. So last time we have seen in chapter number 14, we have seen that out of 64 items, some items which should not be considered as 64 items, those items we have discussed. Okay. And we have also seen that the 9 processes of devotional service are like condensed form of all 64 items. So those we have seen. Yes. And then we have seen the examples of 9 type of devotional services and one perfect example for those that we have seen in chapter number 14. So chapter number 15 and 16 deals with spontaneous devotional service. So let's start. Before that, let's pray to our Guru Parampara and our deities. Okay. So that whatever we speak in service of him and for the pleasure of our Lordship. Okay. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवां च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सादवैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमदे भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशितारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम राम हरे हरे. Okay. So chapter number 15 and chapter number 16 we are going to read and we are going to little bit understand. Okay. After that, the chapters will be like static love. Those things is not for our syllabus. Okay. So we won't be dealing with that. So these two chapter will finish and then our course for NOD will finish. Okay. So let's start with chapter number 15, spontaneous devotional service. So spontaneous devotional service, as you know, that we have already seen that 2 types of devotional service is there. One is called the the sadhana bhakti, or second is called spontaneous devotional service. Okay, the spontaneous devotional service means one is called ragatmika bhakti and one is called raganuga bhakti. Okay, so these 2 types of bhaktis are there. So ragatmika bhakti, we'll see the ragatmika bhakti, that is spontaneous devotional service. And before that, we have seen that was um, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, or the regulative principles. We have to follow the regulative principles. After following the regulative principle, what happens? That if you actually see that there are 9 stages of devotion, stages of prema, attaining prema. Out of that, the fourth one is the anartha nivirti. Okay, so when anartha nivirti happens, the devotee progresses very fast in the devotional service, and he develops the ruchi and those nishtha, ruchi, those stages he develops. Okay, so after that, what happened? That spontaneous development, a spontaneous development of love to Krishna happens. Okay, so that is called the ragatmika bhakti or raganuga bhakti. Okay, so that thing is there. So this is spontaneous devotional service. So initially we have to force ourselves by following the regulative principle. Gradually, what will happen? That spontaneous devotional service to Krishna, spontaneous love to Krishna will happen. Okay. So the examples you can understand it. The examples of the gopis are there. Okay, the residents of Vrindavan. Those those are there. Okay. So those have spontaneous devotional service towards Krishna, like the people of Yadu dynasty. Okay. The people of Vrishni dynasty, which is there in the kingdom of Dwarika. Okay. Or the people of Vrindavan, the Gopa and Gopis. Okay. So they have spontaneous devotional service towards Krishna, spontaneous loving attitude towards Krishna. Okay, so that example you can understand. That is called the spontaneous devotional service. Okay, so example you can see residents of Vrindavan for Krishna. Okay, so that thing is there. So So how it is different from regulated sadhana bhakti? So one is spontaneous devotional service. So we have seen that how it is different, because in in the regulated sadhana bhakti we have to follow the prescribed rules and regulations, and gradually what will happen? The spontaneousness nature will develop. Okay, so that thing is there. The main criteria. What is the main criteria for Ragatmika Bhakti? It should be spontaneous and devotional attitude should be there. One example is of like Kamsa. Okay. So one example of Kamsa, you can understand. My voice is clear, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
So there, so one, the main criteria is to, you can see the spontaneous and devotional. It should be spontaneous. Second is devotional attitude should be there. What is the meaning of devotional attitude? You can see the example of like Kamsa example. Okay. So Kamsa was there. His attitude with Krishna was, he was also always remembering Krishna, but he was in envy. Okay. He was not in envy. He was in fear, because there was a foretelling that the eighth child of his sister will kill him. So he knew that the eighth child Krishna is going to kill, and that's why he is always in fearful mood with Krishna. So he was always remembering Krishna, but mood was not favorable. Okay, so mood should be devotional. Okay, so here you can see the mood should be devotional. Okay. So the mood should be devotional. So one criteria is it should be spontaneous, and second is it should be devotional attitude. Okay. So so that thing is there. So some examples were there. So now we'll see the spontaneous devotional service examples. Okay. So examples are of Gopi, and then Kamsa, one example is there. Shishupal is one example. Yadu dynasty people and the Pandavas. Okay. So out of these 5 examples, you see, they all have spontaneous attraction towards Krishna. We cannot say the devotional service. Devotional service is not in every one of the 5. Okay, there the spontaneous you can see the spontaneous attraction. Okay, spontaneous attraction. So gopis have the spontaneous attraction, and that is termed as lust. Okay, why it is called lust, we'll see that also. Kamsa also has spontaneous attraction, but that attraction was in fear. Okay, he was in fearful mood here. He was always in fear. Okay, Shishupal, you see, he was envious of Krishna. Okay, so Shishupal also has um, attraction toward Krishna, but he was remembering Krishna in envy. Okay, Yadu dynasty people, the people of Yadu dynasty. Okay, the where Krishna was there. Okay, so those were the in the familial attitude. Okay, and Pandavas were in the friendship attitude. Okay, so you see, all these have a spontaneous attraction towards Krishna, but not everyone is having spontaneous devotional service. Okay, you see, gopis have a spontaneous devotional service, Yadus has spontaneous devotional service, and Pandavas has spontaneous devotional service. But you see, 2 example, Kamsa and Shishupal, those were not of devotional service. Okay, they are of something different. Okay, but one thing will surprise you, that all had the same destination. Even Kamsa, Shishupal, all will attain the spiritual nature. Okay, they will attain Krishna. Okay, so this seems to be this seems to be surprising. Okay, how Kamsa and Shishupal, those were envious and in fearful, they were in inimical, they have the inimical view towards Krishna. Okay, they were not in loving affair of Krishna, with loving affair with Krishna, but still they also had the same destination as gopis, as Yadu, as Pandavas. How it can happen? Okay, so the explanation is given like, Krishna has different like manifestation. Krishna is also present in the personal form. Krishna is also present in the Brahmajyoti form. Krishna is also present in the impersonal form. Okay, so impersonal form of Krishna is there in the form of Brahmajyoti. So you see the Kamsa and Shishupal, though they are in fearful attitude or envious attitude, but they were always remembering Krishna. So that's why they will attain the Krishna's nature. But that nature is not the personal association. Okay, that nature will be the Brahman effulgence. So the beyond this material nature, there is a spiritual sky. So beyond this material sky, so big material sky is there, and beyond this material sky, there is spiritual sky. Okay, and then spiritual sky, there is Brahmajyoti, and they will be like in the Brahmajyoti, they will be sustained. Okay, or suspended. Okay, like that. So but they won't enjoy the personal association of Krishna. They won't enjoy the entry to the Vaikuntha planet. They won't enjoy the entry to the Goloka planet. Okay, so they will attain the Krishna's nature, but they will be suspended to in the Brahmajyoti only. Okay, so they will attain the impersonal feature of they will attain the impersonal feature of Krishna. Okay, so like that. So the gopis, Yadus, and Pandavas, they are in a spontaneous devotional service attitude. They will attain the personal nature of Krishna. Okay, but you see the Pandavas, the Kamsa and Shishupal, they will attain the impersonal nature of Krishna. They won't have the personal association of Krishna. Okay, it is just like entering the kingdom and king's palace. So when you enter the kingdom means kingdom is very big. Okay, so Kamsa and Shishupal, they can enter the kingdom, but king's palace or Krishna's personal association will be given to those who actually are in personal devotional or in the devotional service attitude. Okay, so that thing is there. So even these things are confirmed in the Brahmand Puran, and personified Vedas also they pray in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. Okay, so that thing is there. Okay, so now types of Ragatmika Bhakti. Okay, so we see Ragatmika Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti is different. Okay, so we'll see that also. But here we are seeing Ragatmika Bhakti means personal, spontaneous, personal, the service of Krishna. Okay, so like that. So that is also of two types. One is called sensual attraction, and second is called relationship attraction towards Krishna in relationship. Sensual attraction means to satisfy the senses. Satisfy the senses of whom? Satisfy the senses of the person who is in relationship? No. Satisfy the senses of Krishna means for the pleasure of Krishna. So the type of Ragatmika Bhakti, the first is the sensual attraction, that is called Kama Rupa, and the relationship, that is called Sambandha Rupa. Okay. So in the Kama Rupa, it is also called lust. Okay. Lust. Why it is called lust? Because if you see the most intense desire in the material world is the lust. Okay, most intense desire. Okay, so that's why it is just to indicate here that this sensual attraction towards Krishna is very way beyond our mental speculation. That's why it is called lust. It is not like that they have the like sexual relationship like that. No. Okay, it is called lust because just to indicate that this variety of relationship with Krishna is very intense. Okay, so that's why it is called lust. No other purpose is there. Okay, so that we can get means very little hint that how much intense this lust can be, because in the material life we have the most intense the desire is the lust. Okay, so like that. So why it is compared to lust? Because materially we have that much only the experience is there. Okay, that's why it is called lust, but it is not in the nature of the sexual nature. Okay, And lust is to satisfy the own senses. No, the to satisfy the senses of Krishna. The example is of gopis. Okay, the example is the gopi. Gopi, they have the lusty desire towards Krishna. Lusty desire means, I'm not telling in the other way. Lusty desire means they have strong attraction towards Krishna. Very, very strong. Okay, very, very strong. Like, you can compare the lust which is there in the material world and the lust or the strong attraction towards Krishna which we are talking, just like the iron and the gold. What is the value of iron? If one big piece of iron is there in the road, no one is going to ask whose piece of iron is this, who is the who to whom it belongs to. But if a small piece of gold is there in the road, so every person will try to come and say that this is mine piece. This piece is mine. Okay. So like that. So the nature is like that. The lust of material nature is just like the iron, and the intense, the desire of the gopis toward Krishna is just um like the gold. Okay. So like that. Okay. So, and this is this the desire is very, very like of transcendental nature. That is not a material nature. The evidence for it can be taken from the like Uddhava. Uddhava was a very advanced devotee of Krishna. Okay, very advanced devotee of Krishna. And when he visited the Vrindavan, when he saw how the gopis are desiring for Krishna, how the gopis are in the Vipralambha bhav of Krishna, how the gopi are in the separation, their feeling of separation toward Krishna is there. When he saw that, he thought that it is better to become a dust in Vrindavan and in the feet of the gopi. Okay, so that much pure the love of gopis towards Krishna was there. Okay, even you can see the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was strict vairagi, strict sannyasi. Okay, strict sannyasi. Even he punished Chota Haridas when Chota Haridas asked bhiksha from a very elderly lady. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu abandoned him. Okay, why you asked bhiksha from an elderly lady? Okay, and the other people told that no, no, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asking for you only. So what? Asking for me means what? You should know what to do and what not to do. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very strict. Okay, for with the in terms of association of with the ladies. Okay, very strict. He was a perfect Vairagi, and you can say perfect sannyasi was there. He was there. But even he advocate the love of gopis from Krishna, for Krishna is highest. Okay. Highest. Okay. So that thing. And he advocated that gopis love for Krishna was highest love. Okay. So that's why this gopis love is not what we think of lust in the material world. Okay, so that is strong desire for Krishna. So that is one way of ragatmika bhakti. So ragatmika bhakti, we saw one example is the gopis. Okay, that is called kama rupa. Okay, the lust and the kama rupa attraction. One more example was given, that is called kubja. Okay, the Kubja example, we saw that she has the sexual attraction towards Krishna. When she saw Krishna, she has sexual attraction. Okay, so it was like almost mundane love for Krishna, but actually that was love for Krishna. That's why it is it is called the Kama Praya. Okay, Kama Praya. Okay, so that thing is there. So two examples we can see here in the sensual attraction. One is the love from gopis, and second is love for um, the kubza. Okay, so these two examples are there, and we saw that what is the proof? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Uddhava both are certifying that gopis love is highest. Okay, so that was the sensual attraction, the last part. The second is the relationship part, or called the Sambandha Rupa. Okay, Sambandha Rupa, where we have relationship with Krishna. Okay, relationship like Vrishnis. Vrishnis are the people um, in the in the Dwarika and the Yashoda. Okay, so they have like the son and the parental relationship with Krishna. So that is again a Ragatmika Bhakti, where we have relationship with Krishna. Okay. So types of Ragatmika Bhakti we have seen. So this chapter ends here only. Now the chapter number 16. So spontaneous devotional service further described. So let's see. So here we have the so the previous chapter we have seen that Ragatmika Bhakti, and now we are seeing the Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. Okay, so Ragatmika Bhakti was the highest level of devotional service of the gopis and the Yashoda Mai and the people of Vrishni dynasty. Those, okay, so that is called the highest devotional service. Those were the highest devotional service. Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti is the following the footstep of Ragatmika Bhakti. Okay, the person who are following the footstep of the Ragatmika Bhakti, following those person is called Raga Anuga. So we follow the person who are following the Ragatmika Sadhana Bhakti. Okay, so these two terms are there. One is called Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti and one is called Ragatmika Sadhana Bhakti. So Ragatmika Sadhana Bhakti was the previous chapter. Now we are seeing the Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. So the definition is the advanced practice intended to cultivate the service mood of an eternally perfect resident of Vrindavan. So you see the eternally perfect resident of Vrindavan are called Ragatmika Bhakti. Okay, that Bhakti which is followed by the eternally perfect resident of Vrindavan is called Ragatmika Bhakti. So to follow the mood or the advanced practice intended to cultivate the service mood of Ragatmika, the persons who are following the Ragatmika Bhakti. So that is called Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to follow the Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, not the Ragatmika Sadhana Bhakti. So both are the types of spontaneous devotional service only. But we are in this stage. We are not in this stage. We cannot say that we are in the Raganuga Sadhana. We still have to follow the regulative principles of bhakti, and we have to purify ourselves so that we can come into the stage of Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. Okay. So this stage is called Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. So what is the prerequisite to come under this? Okay. So the prerequisite is anartha nivritti. Okay. So when